Welcome to part 2 of translating the words of the world's first poet. So in part 1 we translated a line from the Exaltation of Inanna, written by High Priestess and the world's first attested author, Enchedwana. Today we're going to translate another line from this very tablet. So as always, let's get the transliteration up so we can see what we're working with. So here's the transliteration and here are the signs. So from top to bottom, left to right in Sumerian we have Nin Kianganangu Mirmirza Gamdug. So let's quickly explain what's going on with the grammar. So first off we have Nin, which in other videos you'll have seen me explain is either lady or queen. Then we have Kiang. Now this is a compound verb which means to love or beloved. And then we have On, which is making reference to the sky god On. And then we have Na. So this is representing the genitive case. So the N is being carried over from the previous sign On into the new sign Na. The remaining A is representing the genitive Ak, which means of. And then finally on this sentence we have Ngu, which is the possessive pronoun which means my. And then we have Mirmirza, which essentially mir is the verb to be angry. Now, as we've mentioned in another video, when you see reduplication like this, it can denote plurality. However, it also can carry another meaning. So in a lot of cases when you see the reduplication, it can be signifying plurality, but as is mentioned here in Fox's introduction to Sumerian grammar, it does mention that it can also act as an intensification or a superlative meaning. So in this context, it'll change the word from angry to rage or wrath, something intensive, a bit more intensified. And then we also have za, which is another possessive pronoun meaning yours. So your anger, or in our newly translated superlative meaning, your rage. Finally we have gamdug. So ga is something called the modal prefix. So as you can see here, as it says, the modal prefix ga is restricted to verbal forms with a subject of the first person. It signals not only that the verbal form has a modal meaning, but also that it has a subject of the first person. So when you see ga like this, it's normally translated as I will, or let me, may I, that kind of thing. Also in our example, we do have this as well, the am. So what's happening here is the M here is what we're focusing on. This is a morpheme of the ventive prefix. And we can see here in the grammatical breakdown here, it also lists it as the ventive. And then finally we have dug, which means to speak. So with all this in mind, let's translate it finally. My lady, beloved of Arn, I will speak of your rage. Or in this translation it says, I shall tell of all your rages. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.